when we're live, and kind of go through some of those selling pieces. So Karen, let me know when you found it. And
we're recording.
Oh, we're recording now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're live.
We're live.
We're live.
So I have to end full screen.
A lot of you are selling different things. You're doing different stuff. So we're really going to look at dialing for dollars today and how we can kind of get that going. How many of you use selling as a direct every day? Are you selling something?
The chat box is at the bottom.
I'm going to be selling light bulbs.
You're selling homes,
free.
right?
And they're actually free, some of them.
Okay. And then just to remind everybody that there is at the very bottom of your screen where you see all of our pictures, there's a chat box there. And I think it's under the more section. And then it says,
it's across the bottom. And the chat screen is there. You can either you can either chat to everybody or to a specific person. So when you click the chat box, it shows up on the side and you just type in. So somebody
and I'll
did.
see that. So you can start putting in questions.
Thank you to everyone, Marie, Trish, everybody. Oh, everybody says hi.
Everybody gets hi. So there you go. We know you're there.
And Dawn, we're so glad to see you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's good to be alive.
Yeah. Dawn, thank you for living through COVID, literally.
I lost a whole month of my life.
Yeah.
Well, count your blessings. I've lost 3.
Yeah. So I'm just going to let everybody quick introduce themselves. Caitlin, I'll start with you since you're in the upper left-hand corner for me.
Okay, I'm in the lower corner for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I'm Caitlin Mariah, and I'm an artist and an author. I've written 6 books. I paint all the time, and during this time out that we're in, I've been so creative. I don't know how many paintings I've done. I created a website and a new product.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Andrew, I'm going to come to you next.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Stoff. Right now I'm Team No Haircuts. Really long and shaggy here.
Looks good.
Fantastic.
Never been this long before, but I do financial planning, businesses, individuals, and my good news, last week I did my first podcast about all the relief programs. So that was pretty fun, which should be released on Spotify here pretty soon. So I never thought hour and a half, 2 hours would go by like that, just talking. A lot of fun.
Welcome to my life. Ashley, let's go on to you.
What was the questions? I was upstairs making sure.
Good morning, and are you doing selling?
Okay, so I do children's entertainment with Tiny Diva Princess Party, and we are starting Zoom calls. So that's a new thing. It went well. I've done 2 so far, and I've got a 3rd one lined up for this weekend, but we're trying to get more interest in it. So I still need to do more marketing.
I really like that for you. I really like that.
Both of the most recent 2 clients are actually not from Minnesota. They're on opposite ends of the U.S.
So this is really expansion for you. Yeah, I think I'll put some good things in today for you for sports. Sure. Trish, let's go on to you.
I was going to say before that, I did read that Disneyland Shanghai is opening next week. So if you want to go to Shanghai,
May 11th.
Boom, there you go.
Right, I love that. Trish, let's go on to you. Good morning.
I'm Trish. I'm a singer and entertainer, and there's no gigs, obviously, but I'm keeping fairly busy singing twice a week on social media, on Facebook, picking out a song and delivering 3 or 5 minutes of singing and inspirational chat. Still doing the Happiness Hour, which we started now over a month ago, and it's still going on Fridays, which is cool. It's an hour and a half program, just sort of like a virtual neighborhood in the era of COVID-19. Another opportunity for people just to sort of virtually connect that may not know each other. So that's been kind of fun.
And it's Friday. It's Fridays.
It's Fridays. Fridays at 5 o'clock. Yep, it's a private Zoom. And I'm actually looking a lot now into the podcasting piece, kind of as a result of the singing that I've been doing on social media. I'm kind of looking at really thinking about going into the podcast direction. So I've been doing a lot of researching and educating on that.
Well, and you've got such a great voice for it too.
Thanks.
All right, Sandy, let's check in with you.
Hi. Hey, first, I'd like to say hi, Dawn. It's so great to see you. I was hoping that you'd be on the call today. So good to see you back.
Yes.
We are so glad Dawn's alive.
Yes. Yes. I'm Sandy Cleland. I'm a residential real estate agent. I'm working with RE/MAX Results in one of the Edina offices. And so I've been very busy. I have 10 closings, but actually I've had 2 of them now. So now I have 8 left. Isn't that?
That's magic.
So between May 1st and like June 12th, I'll have 10 closings. I have 2 more buyers that I'm working with, but I don't have anything after that. So I'm kind of nervous. I don't have any listings coming up. But it's been really fun just to work and not do all the other kind of running around that we always do. It's been a little bit more calm, just to focus on work and being at home. But the class today, I'm really excited about. I talk every week about I'm not making my calls, so this is perfect.
Perfect. Yes, this is something we've been on you for a long time for.
Yes.
All right, Danny and Matilda, I'm going to you guys.
You have to unmute yourself.
You have to unmute you.
There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have been working on my flower shop all month.
Yay.
I started back at school for floral design and for forensics.
Okay, good.
Because life and death are my 2 favorite things.
Big combo.
And I brought Tilly with me, and
Good.
she is full of paint.
Yeah, full of paint.
That's good. Tilly, now we had you in another class a long time ago, so some people will know you from that class. How is the art studio going?
It's going pretty great. I'm trying to get 100 pieces together, and then I'm going to sell them all off. I've already sold 2, 3 from the grouping of 100 that I'm going to sell when they all go live.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, good. Glad you're here. Okay, we'll go on to you, Kathy.
Hi. Hold on, let me get this going.
Whoop, we're not hearing you.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What was the question? Just what we're up to?
Okay, well, one, good morning.
Good morning.
Kind of having a sales conversation. You've got a lot of personal things going on right now, so I just want to also give you a big hug. Kathy's got some, big heart stuff going on. So
I'm actually at Grandma Lucy's right now, so thank you. So I might not be available for much of the call when Grandma Lucy wakes up.
Oh, got it. Okay, we'll take you while we got you.
Thanks. So yeah, I haven't been working on my business at all because I am playing the role of teacher, hostmaker, and caregiver. So the only thing I did, I don't know, maybe in the last month is I did some contractor outreach calls to the, 6 or 8 contractors that I've kind of been in conversations with, just reaching out to see who's up to what, if anybody's got anything going, how the world turning upside down has affected everybody, and I didn't know that I'm still available.
All right. Well, we're going to record this, Kathy. So if you don't watch it now, if you've got to attend to your family, we'll be here whenever you're ready. And you and I will always connect anyway. So okay, Dawn, let's go up to you. We've been waiting to hear that you're alive and well.
Yep. I excuse me. I quit my other job, so that ended. And I was, as you know, in the hospital for a little while with COVID, but COVID is not what I expected it to be. I did not expect to, usually they say at 7 days you can go back to your life. I got sicker and sicker, so it was very strange. But now that I'm well, which has been a week and a day now, I have helping out with Tiny Divas. And so what I'm doing is trying to promote the Zoom aspect of it. And so the sales part that I'm working on is trying to put together a YouTube channel and get cast members to engage in that, put together some really good content, and all of that being obviously free for the YouTubers, but to drive people to the Zoom call so that they get the personalized visits and all of that. So,
I love it. I love it. That is great. All right, Marie, let's go on to you.
Okay. So I have a new little side hustle. I have a friend that went to a networking group, met a guy from San Antonio who works with local power companies and their rebates on LED Energy Star light bulbs. And so basically what's happening with a combination between the rebates from Excel and this company is willing to reduce their price, I'm basically going to be giving away light bulbs to commercial customers of Excel Energy. So anyway, they have a postcard campaign and a telemarketing campaign, but then I'm going to be following up on the people that are wanting more information. So I get a commission by giving away light bulbs.
Yeah, that's great. We have someone else in the community that does that, so I will.
Oh, please.
That may be a helpful connection.
Yeah, thank you. Good.
Good. Okay, I see Donna's on, and where did I see Michelle? Where did Michelle go? Oh, okay. Michelle, let's go on to you next.
Okay, sorry about the picture. Sometimes my camera works and sometimes I don't, and basically I have to restart it, which takes forever to get it working.
Hello.
I'm here. I'm the big M on the screen. Business for me is pretty much the same, and I focus on strategy sessions and website design, development, and support. So that's the bulk of my business. I also have a passion project that I'm working on, which relates more to personal development, social and spiritual justice, and having those difficult conversations with people, thinking more critically, that kind of thing. So I'm working on that as well.
Okay, well, welcome. Donna, how are you?
I'm good. Is it, you want me to do my thing?
Yeah, so basically we're just kind of going in, hi, how are you? And, you know, we're sales goals, things like that, that you're doing.
Yep, well, I've had some inspirations, so that's good. Just need to act on them now. So can I just talk later, maybe?
Yes, that's totally fine. Okay, well, I'm going to get into class. So I'm going to share my screen, and there's what it's going to look like. Okay, do you guys have the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so one, kind of here's the big piece of today, right? This is what we're focused on, is making those sales. And one of the things that I really want to kind of remind people of is that you're here to make those sales so that you can pay you profitably. Sometimes we're just focusing on sales because we just need cash flow. But today I really want you guys to use the time to focus on those things that make you profit. And sometimes that's really specific things. For those of you who have been in other classes, that you understand a cash cow, and the other piece is that there's kind of bread and butter sales. So bread and butter sales are really things that are there. They happen all the time. And they're there to just make sure that there's a little bit of money on the table all the time. So there's different types of sales. Andrew, that would really apply to you a lot of, so your sales would probably be those monthly investments that are coming in, not necessarily the big transfers. For Tiny Diva, that would be this Zoom piece that you're putting in, that those would be just these bread and butter pieces that you could put into a business plan. And then the parties would be the larger financial piece. Today's class is dialing for dollars, and it's really trying to help you to make the call, to start to understand maybe that you need a script, that you want to come in with an outcome, that is the point of this, is that you have an outcome before you pick up the phone. And before you pick up the phone, it is really understanding that when you're dialing for dollars, the reason that it is so darn effective is because it's people that already know who you are. That we're not really talking about cold calling, that dialing for dollars is really one of those pieces where it's using your list and taking it on to your advantage and making sure that people are aware or that they know what you're doing. So these are what we would call a warm lead. When we talk about this, I would really remind people to go back to your personal business plan of what are your personal target goals. So one would be, some of you have a target goal for more clients, that you just physically need more clients. Another, so if I just kind of take it as a progression, is to really look at what are the touch points that are crucial in those trusted relationships. So if your target goal is to have new clients, then you would be going to old clients and asking them for clients or referrals or something. And then you would define the things that are really crucial for you in those relationships. So one of the things that if someone is a client of mine, one of the things that I tell them is that, yeah, don't send me anyone crazy, right? Send me somebody that's just as lovable as you are, right? So that they can prep that sale for me. And then they can, for me, it's an energetic conversation of who do I want to work with and who do I want to love and who do I need more of. So sometimes it's really looking at defining the crucial pieces for you in a trusted relationship. For me, it is that I'm going to energetically connect with somebody on a topic that we can move forward in a relationship. You do want to start creating call lists, and that is really making sure that you have a client database. Databases, even if they are small, are really critical because they help you understand your growth. And they also help you weed out the things that are non-essentials. And so sometimes we have different databases that are all in one. So you may have a master database that has everybody's name in it, and then they're fragmented into the different parts. So for my outreach, sometimes I'm having outreach for NW2, sometimes I'm having outreach for Project Elf, sometimes I'm having outreach for Rich Chicks, for my own clients, for different types of things. So really understanding your database and who you're reaching out to and why. So making sure that you can kind of create call lists based on groups of people. So for Marie, that conversation about who do you know that has a building is very different than who do I want to sell a house to, right? So sometimes those are going to cross over, but you're going to have to decide what is that call list. And that call list is you're going to try to have those be your warm leads. Then when you go to the topics that are appropriate for the call, and you're going to want to really look at what are the key points. And this is where, when we talk about a script, that's really what you're going to do. So if I'm calling for new clients, right, I'm going to define the touch points. I'm going to create the list of who I'm going to call in my database that I want more of, right? And then I'm going to kind of go through, here are the touch points I can talk on so that I can keep myself together on the phone call, right? And then really start to measure what is that outcome while you're on the phone, right? Here's the outcome that I'm getting to. And then you're going to kind of close up the call with that, right? Here's the outcome. Hey, well, I did call to see if you have any new clients or if you have other people that you can send to me. Let me know how I can assist that to you. And then, you know, thanking them for what they have as an offering, even just for taking your call is just, you know, again, how we love each other in those calls. And warm leads, it doesn't have to feel pushy or salesy. It just is, hey, here's what's up, right? It's a casual conversation. One of the things that I think is really helpful for you as well is to really understand for yourself, what are the gifts that you're going to bring to that party, right? And what I mean by that is not just your business ideals, right? Your business ideals are around profit, efficiency, market share, right? Networking, brand awareness, management goals. Those are the types of things that we just had from the last slide, right? These are your business ideals. But when I look at the gifts that you bring to the party, I would really focus in on the gifts that you specifically bring. That may be product knowledge, that may be rapport, that may be actual knowledge, that may be communication, that might be, if you're a salesperson, that might be working on objection prevention and handling an objection, or it might be time management, that you can do something quickly and efficiently. But again, I would really start to look at that and I would imagine a table full of gifts. And that's why I chose this image, right? That you're always bringing gifts to a party. Every phone call, you have a set of gifts that you are bringing. And I want you to focus in on those right away so that you kind of know what is the specialness that you're bringing, not just the task that needs to happen, right? Not just the task that needs to happen, because behind that is the business goals that you have, right? It is really saying, here is what I want. Here's what I bring specifically. If any of you have ever made, if any of you have ever married or been with someone who, or are a fisherman, you know this next part, right? Fishing is not a guessing game, right? It is not a guessing game. You are going to go out with a plan or else you're not going to come home with supper, right? And same with that phone call. A fisherman knows, right, what part of the lake they're going to. They've got the tools, they've got the boat, they've got the reel. No fisherman is going to ever step foot in that boat without bait, without a line, without checking that they have all their gear forward. And that's the thing I need you to think about when you're making phone calls. It's not a guessing game. You are really looking to fish. And if you want to come home with supper, you've got to have that mentality of a fisherman, right? Make sure all your stuff is there. And again, I would refine your list to those outcomes. So you're going to go through all of those lists and look at, hey, here's what I'm hoping for out of this group of people. So for myself, it may be that I need to see people. It may be that there's a new product on the market. It may be that I need them to play a role in the community. It may be something else. So really refine your list based on the outcome that you want, either for them or for you, right? Because it's not just being top of mind. So I would refine your list by the outcome. This I have a lot as a conversation about people with technology and running their business, that I remind them that technology is not personal attention. A text is not personal attention. It is tool that supports personal attention. So it's when you're texting someone, what they really want is a live person. They really want you. They want all the stuff and all the gifts that you bring to the table. That the things that you're using for technology are really only to support how they get to the personal piece. So sending out a reminder, right? Sending out, you know, some people have drip campaigns, things like that. But reality is that the only purpose of technology is to get them to the personal. And so Ashley, like in your Zoom call, right, that personal is that they get that one-on-one, right?
Yep.
That they get that one-on-one. So all the other technology that you may invest in the brand is only leading right here to that one-on-one, right? We want that moment, that piece of magic. So when you're thinking about technology, whatever forms you're doing, whether it be a podcast or something like that, know that it is not a substitute. People want people, even if they hate people. So the other piece that I would remind people about is, especially if you are, if you don't love the phone, is I would preview the movie in your mind. I would kind of play it out, right? And that's why a script is there. I am a huge fan of a sales script. You do not have to read it verbatim. You hate it when people read it verbatim to you. But you really do want to kind of have that script so that you know, hey, here's the topics that I need to do. Here are the things that I should be paying attention to. I'll go back to those of you that are selling really complex things like Sandy and Marie and Andrew, right? You are selling things with lots of bells and whistles, lots of process, lots of things that are going on. That the point of a script for you is to make sure you covered everything. You guys have sometimes legal things that you have to cover, right? Hey, did I tell you this? Did I tell you this? And by the time, when you're seeing a lot of people, you forget who you told what to, right? So having a script that says, hey, let me go through these 5 or 10 items. And Dawn, I go back to that for you as a nurse, right? You guys have a whole SOP, right? Standard operating procedures. These are so critical to the craft of selling, to the craft of doing business. So you want to define the topics that you should be paying attention to, the things that are going to make sense to that person or that they have an impact, right? Getting a personal call on your birthday from someone that is magical, that's going to have an impact, right? Getting a coloring book that is specific to that child or to something that they're very interested in, that's going to have an impact. So how do we create offers that get that impact? And creating things that are specific to them, right? So that may be, you know, just sweetening the pot a little bit. So a coloring event, right? Or something like that, Donna's. And then I would extend their vision. It is once you kind of have someone with you and they're going on that, you want to extend how they can see what you have. And Kathy, this is one where I think you have a lot of skills at, of saying, hey, I love what you're saying. I love what you're doing, but now let me extend why I think it should go this way. This is really, again, right, giving them offers, ideas, concepts that make sense and that have a long-lasting impact on them. Kathy, I remember when you and I were together in a room that we were talking about something as simple as tile and how many things I didn't know about tile, and I didn't know the limitations of what that was. So sometimes it's really letting people know that the vision they thought they had in their head isn't actually what the products are that they think that they are able to do. Andrew, I think that'll happen a lot for you, where you really do understand that products have limitations, so they may need to extend the vision that they have. one of the things that, so interestingly enough, if I go back 2 slides, this image that's behind here is from the picture window of the day that Apple opened its store to sell iPads for the first day. And that's a sales worker in there taking a picture because it was the coolest window design of ever. And so I go back to this next slide. So this is an image that is all of these natural dyes of yarns that are handmade. And what I bring those to your attention for is that luxury services 100% of the time do better in difficult times. Sometimes they're going to do better on a secondary market versus the primary market, which is why you see many of the primary market people in luxury products actually controlling the next layer, right? So now if you want a refurbished iPhone, you go right to Apple, right? So luxury products will always do well in difficult times. So for those of you who are worried that you can't sell something in this time, it's not actually the demographic that has been proven in the marketplace. So the demographic that I want you to kind of think about is why you like luxury items. And that may be that they have some other things. And for those of you who are delivering a luxury service, whether that just be your style, whether that be your product, whether that be the brand and the mission of who you are, it is that you're also creating a vibe that you are going to, right, take care of the people, and that you're a problem solver, that you are going to give them rewards for doing business, right? Sometimes the reward that you have from a luxury brand is that you'll get a pre-sales event, or you'll get an offer or an opportunity. Coach sends out the month before Mother's Day every year a 30% off coupon to all of its customers that they can use on everything, and then they give them one to give to a friend. So for the sole purpose of them going with their mother, brother, sister, anyone to go to the store together, right? That there are special rewards for doing business. And Coach will keep you on their mailing list for over 15 years since your last purchase. So it's not like you just are going to fall off after 3 years. They've increased the spectrum of what they believe is a sales cycle. And they did that based on how many of their larger products, when will they fail, right? When is that person going to need it? So that special rewards for doing business for you may change based on the product that you're giving. Sometimes they do move on. Clients, the other thing that luxury services do is they understand that the clients are the brand. So that they are part of the identity. The brand itself is going to have the identity, but the clients that hold them, right? That's why it's so critical to have, that's why that whole market came up of influencers, right? That influencer marketing, they want to see what this famous person is wearing, what are they doing, right? That the people that are using the product itself or the brand, that is part of the brand identity. One of the other things about luxury services is that they're not hidden. It just costs that. There's no apology made for a Louis Vuitton anything to be the price of a Louis Vuitton, but they have supported their brand to say these are the luxury items. I happened to be in a store that this was last October when I was in Maine and the East Coast, and I picked up this beautiful blanket, and I'm like, wow, this is the most beautiful blanket that I've ever seen. And I picked it up, and I had never come across a throw blanket that was thousands of dollars. And I went, wow, this is thousands of dollars. So I had to just ask the person, this seems really special. Can you tell me about it? And that specialness, it took her 45 minutes, of which I was completely interested in because I'm that geek, right? But it was all of the things that had to happen to make this hand loomed product that there's only one of like, right? So that was a specific market that they were there. So they weren't going to apologize for the price. They were just going to tell you why it was that price. When you look at what is also a luxury brand, if you look at what you're wanting or expecting out of a luxury brand or a luxury service, is that they actually pay attention to you, right? How many times have you walked out of a store to be like, yeah, I'm not giving you my money. You don't actually pay attention to me, right? No. It is also easy to have your client stolen if someone else gives the appearance that someone else is more attentive to them. And then the last one is really standard operating procedures. In sales calls, in being able to manage your list, you're going to have standard operating procedures. And that is, hey, well, we usually take people in, here's an intake process, here's how we do a phone call, here's how we book a party, here's how I sell a house, right? Here are the steps you're gonna have to go through. It's really understanding the importance of systems. Having systems on the back end allow the front end of sales to go much smoother because you're loaded, right? You're loaded with how are you going to actually do what you're selling, right? How are you actually going to do what you're saying? So if it is to say, hey, I have a product that I'm going to place in your store, like a individual product, here's how I'm going to relate with you. Here's our operating process. We're going to meet with you once a year. We're going to have an annual event at your space. We have 10 social media posts that we're going to send to you during the year that you can use to do that, right? It's an operating procedure. That happens a lot in luxury brands where they have brand ambassadors. So they'll say, here's our ambassador program, right? Here's the ambassador program so that you as an influencer or somebody who talks about our brand, you get benefits for doing that, right? Lululemon has that, right? They have a huge ambassador program. Then basically what they give to their people is they give them mailing lists that they mail to them directly. They give them product specials. They give them what's coming early and what they can expect. And they give them the first chance to buy those products so that they're wearing something before it comes in for the season. And that way, Lulu is sure that they'll pre-sell their season because they've increased the selling time and they've increased the people that are marketing it, but they're not having to make that direct sales impact, right? So for you as a luxury service, sometimes it's you learning how someone else is going to pre-make a sales call for you. Ambassadors are a little one like that. One of the things that I remind everyone on in sales is you never need to put on a mask. You never need to pretend that you are somebody that you're not, right? You can just be you. That's what makes it work. And that's what makes it really functional. A lot of sales really are going to say in sales training, oh, send people a meme or, text them something funny. And I really feel very strongly that that is the wrong answer because, it doesn't actually serve. So it actually avoids serving. So when you look at what you're sending to people, sending something that's funny based on what you do, okay, that is interesting. It's a way for you to laugh about something you both enjoy, but it's not actually a sale or a sales tactic. So it's not a branding activity. It just isn't appropriate for most things. And it ends up making you look like you're somebody that you're not, right? So think about that when you're looking at your brand. What is the point, right? We're dialing for dollars. We want people to know every time you call them that you're not there to talk about exotic funnel cakes, right? Because how exotic are funnel cakes? I don't know. Ridiculous. I live in the Midwest. funnel cakes are not particularly exotic, right? Okay, that, like, what would an exotic be? What, like, is it fur? I don't know, right? So that's not actually going to help you make a sale. It's not going to bring you any depth to that relationship. And so focus on what you are. What is the gift that you're bringing to the table? One of the things that I just remind everybody about this time, this specific time in sales, is, man, it feels really wobbly out there. And it feels wobbly. That for those of you who are working with retail, all of the ways that you have been doing business feel interrupted, and it's wobbly. So one of the things that I just want you to look at is everyone feels fragile, including you, including you, that this is a fragile time. This is a time that we take a breath, that you actually, if you've noticed how you're talking, the cadence in your voice most likely slows down. Hey, like when we reached out to Dawn, right? When everybody goes, oh gosh, Dawn, tell us how you are, right? When we reached out to Kathy, hey, how are you doing, right? It's just a more fragile, it's a more calming, it's a slower voice, because everybody right now is afraid they're gonna pop like a bubble. That, you know, they don't know what's gonna hit them. So just be slow, don't poke at their bubbles, right? But really offer forward, you know, what can you do to help? And sometimes what you can do to help is to acknowledge that it's really hard to wear all these different buttons right now, that we are all, you know, going through our own stuff. It's not just like, hey, we're all in this together. That's not actually the message. It is to say, I see you, I see you, I recognize you, right? I am about you. That's that heart-centered connection. So really looking at that place of fragility in a sales cycle. When you look at fragility in a sales cycle, it is to expand yourself like a puffer fish, right? To go, hey, I'm normally this size, but when it's crazy and you're fragile, I can puff up real big. Here are the other communities that I can attach to you right now, right? Here are the other pieces of insight that I may have that's helpful to you. These are other resources that maybe are everywhere. Right now, we have resources that people are willing to tap into more than they've ever been willing to think. I'm a huge fan of things that break being rebuilt in a more thoughtful manner. And that is what fragile times do, is that they force everyone to move in a direction that they were uncomfortable with because of the way they thought they saw the reality, right? That we thought we saw the reality in a certain way, that we had to do business in a specific paradigm. Once the system itself breaks, suddenly everyone has to expand like a bubble, right? It's uncomfortable. When you blow air into a new bubble, it's wobbly, right? It doesn't want to come off the little blower thing, right? You blow into it slow, like maybe, you know, and sometimes it pops right on there and you're like, this stupid thing doesn't work, right? And then you blow a really big one and then you blow 10 little ones, right? That is the uncertainty of trying new things. We are all going to reach into a reality that was not comfortable 6 months ago. And sometimes it's just saying, I will be the hand at your back. There is a very famous Chinese poem that really is about, hey neighbor, I actually don't need anything from you. I just need to know that you will offer a hand at my back should I need it, right? So it is also kind of a conversation of what is neighborliness. And that is that just opening the door. Sometimes they just need a hand at their back. Because what does that do, right? From other classes, we've talked about that courage isn't me being so vigilant that I can run out there and be forward and strong. It's knowing that my people are behind me, that my people got me, right? That it's a lot easier to take risk when there's someone who has their hand at your back. Sometimes the hand at your back is a savings account. Sometimes the hand at your back is that you have an enormous amount of work that you've already done. Sometimes the hand at your back is knowing that you won't die if you ask for help, right? There's a hand at your back, that there's a way forward. This is a time that people have never needed hope more because they're fragile. And fragile doesn't mean broken. Fragile just means that wobbly like a bubble. It doesn't take away from its beauty. It doesn't take away for its ability to merge with water. It doesn't take away from the magic of it floating through the air, right? So fragility doesn't mean that someone or something is broken. Markets are fragile right now. Businesses are fragile right now because it's uncertain. The minute that they get things that kind of work to their advantage, they won't be floating in that way. They won't have any obstacle hit them and break them. So sometimes when I'm looking at people in customer calls is to tell them where they're not fragile, the things that are not broken, right? Kids are never gonna not want to color. That is not broken, right? Let's get them coloring in their homes. This is a product that you can mail to them directly, right? This is where we can win. When we look at that from Michelle's point of view, right? This is a product that you can bring into someone's life instantly that they can see improvement on. So when you start to look at the fragility in the community, really look at the things that I will talk about again, but it's the undeniable truth. The undeniable truths make fragility not seem frightening. And those undeniable truths may be that you're healthy, that you're smart, that you have the ability to go forward, that you have put capital away, that you have some of these other things working, that you've worked on your brand, that you have 100 paintings that you've already done, that you've already published 6 books, right? That you've already done this work, right? So sometimes just knowing your own undisputed truths. That product is ready for the market. You already have something of value to give in the brand form that you already are. This is a concept that I give people a lot, especially if you're selling something that everyone else is selling, or that you have something that there's a million of. And that is, right, that anytime we see mass manufactured, and just to go back to that conversation of luxury brand, right? It is still mass manufactured, but we really see a difference between an iPhone and a Nokia, right?
Nokia lasts forever though.
They do. They do. I do appreciate that. But we see a difference between, I suppose I should have said a track phone, right? That's probably a better pick, right? that when you look at something.
Tech, it's way over my head. I don't even know the difference.
You don't even know the difference. So I'll give you a different example. If you've ever stayed at a hotel that is maybe a $50 hotel versus a $300 hotel, right? Everybody would choose to stay at the $300 hotel if it cost the same price as the $50 hotel, right? And we want that. But how do you make an average hotel in the middle now seem different, right? TripAdvisor has done this for us across the world, it has opened the gateway for the middle to have a voice, not one side or the other. It has opened the ability for the middle to say, hey, here's the things that are special to us. One of the things that we had as a Comfort Inn, one of the Comfort Inn things that they put in as their brand, right? Because they are viewed as a lower quality hotel. One of the brand pieces that they put in was that they have a hot potato bar at 4 o'clock. So basically, they take everything that they used for the breakfast menu and they made it available in the afternoon when people check in and are hungry. So they just basically put in a pile of mashed potatoes, a pile of baked potatoes, right? And if you've bought a pound or 5 pounds of baked potatoes, you know this is $3, right? So basically they've aluminum foiled $3 of baked potatoes. They've made them there. They put in butter, which is available on their breakfast menu. They bought sour cream. They have salt. They have pepper. They have some cheese. This is not a complex buffet. But every trucker that I have ever seen is staying at that hotel because there's the baked potato bar, right? So what is viewed as being less than, we now have the ability to say, here is a better than way, right? And I myself was down at that baked potato bar because who doesn't want a baked potato at 4 o'clock? That's fantastic. So one of the ways that you can look at, even if you have a mass marketed item, what are the things that make what you create with it not the normal way of doing it, right? So I would look at what makes your product special, but what makes it not viewed as standard. And some of you are doing that because you do have a lot of one-offs. When you look at that, this is where your sales script is going to be really helpful. So if you're selling something like life insurance, if you're selling something that is the same, right? Light bulbs, you're going to want your sales script right here. How do I make sales feel unparalleled, superior, notable, singular, right? How do we make that happen? We can't do it without a sales script. So start to write down what makes your product or the service that you offer superior, even though it's a product that everyone sells. And so when we're looking at, Michelle, I'll use you as an example, right? That you do a lot of web hosting. The web hosting in your case may be considered just web hosting. Who knows a thing about that? But you have an extra set of services that you'll actually be there when, not if, but when everyone has a website that's going to fail, right? That they have a phone number that they can call, that they have someone that they can problem solve with, that you can help them with even code or understanding, right? So those superior, notable, distinctive qualities about why you're doing what you're doing and what you're actually offering, right? Caitlin, I would use some of the books that you have written as another example, right? These are for specific times, sometimes in some child's life, right? That these are unique products that are not on the market normally. Or that they can receive right from the author, that they can be personalized, that you can, for an extra $5, you will write a note to that child or to that person, right? That there are other things that can make what just seems like a book a magnificent product, right? When we look at the calls, right, that most of you are making, these are kind of the top 5 that most everybody is making, which are, oh my gosh, I found something for you, right? I got something, right? That little flower piece. That's a really common call is, oh my gosh, this is for you. And you've done that, right? That I know it exactly from Danny, right? That you've made a bouquet and you know who that bouquet is for. I have something that's just for you. The next call is really what I call a pre-sales call. And I think that's where a lot of you can really see the benefit of, is that not all sales are set up to trigger in one event, that there is actually sometimes 3 or 4 events. One of the things that I wrote in the material for this class was that we have the top 10. So I'll go through the top 10 things that are kind of the stuff that you'll hit in your sales calls. But most of you are actually setting up for a sale, especially for those of you who are selling bigger items, right? So it's really looking at, hey, in the future, I see that you've had 2 more kids. You're probably going to need a bigger house. Do you think that you're going to be, what would it take, right? Where would it be? When would you outgrow that house? What do you foresee in the future changing, right? And that's really looking at to the future. And that is what I would call a pre-sales call. A luxury brand, right? That you have something that is secret and delicious for them. So if you have something that is secret and delicious for them, that may be that everyone that you've hosted a party for can now have a secret call that's just for them, right? That you may have a service that is just for the people that work with you for hosting or for other things, right? So that really is sometimes that they can have access to something, that there may be a prize with that is usually a sales call. When something needs updating, right? Sometimes this is a sales reminder call. And a sales reminder call is maybe that you're updating something, or that they are, that there has been a change in what the future is. So something may need updating. For me, that may be reminding people that they should be that they should be meeting with their lawyers and redoing their legal work, or reviewing it every 5 years. Most people's entire lives change every 5 years. The statistical data on the relationships that we hold, most people are actually changing the group that they hang around with, that core group, in their business cachet every 5 years. So that I would always plan on every 5 years that lots of things are going to change in your life. Perhaps your job, perhaps your income, perhaps the location of where you are, the children that are around you, the ages of people around you. People are having babies, right? They're doing things, they're getting different vehicles, they're driving different places, they're moving where they live. But traditionally, we have people that are moving every 5 years. The sales track for jobs, right, are also changing. We are seeing younger people move jobs every 2.6 years, whereas before, in those older jobs, they were staying within those jobs sometimes up for 6 or 7 years. That's not the truth for the younger people that are coming into these job markets, that they're staying less, not more. So for those of you who have maybe worked for the same place for 10 years, you're really something special, or you're self-employed. And so I would look to go, what is something that needs to be updating? This is actually a reminder call. This is not where you're going to be calling for dialing for dollars. This is when you're prepping someone to go, hey, this is going to be updating. I think we should check it on at this date. So this is a pre-book for the sales. This one, for those of you who are doing realty, you guys do this a lot, right? This happens to be the surprise image that we did for a thank you card for my old assistant. This is Shelly. And this is her wedding, right? So when we sent out the thank you cards, we had to make them laugh because that's her personality, right? So I took this picture and I went, hey, I have exactly what you need to send out, right? That these are special dates. when you are looking at special dates for people, it may be, again, like the call before it, right? That something needs to be updated, or that we need to prepare for a special time. For Andrew, that may be a retirement. That may be, for some of you, that may be times when, you know, you're having empty nests, or when people are getting a certain age, or that there are certain things that are coming up. Graduation is a special date that's happening right now that people are having a lot of conversation around, right? Because young people aren't going to get to walk. They're not going to get through this tradition. And that's really alarming to many people, because they want that rite of passage. They want what that brings to the table. The last thing, so those are pretty much the top 5 calls that everyone is doing. That is kind of the most simple ways to go through it. But none of those calls are going to be meaningful to you if you don't actually know how to close the sale. So when you're writing your script, I do want you to focus in on how to tie it up, how to get it tied up right to that dock, right? Not just floating out into the ocean here. That you want to tie it up, you want to bring it into dock, and you want to close that sale. And that is also part of your script, to say, okay, I think we should act on this at this time. Okay, these are the dates we have open. Let's book the appointment. Let's do the other pieces that are needed to finish that sale. Don't leave a phone call without a landing point. Many people screw up their sales call right here, that they've done all the work, they've talked about the undeniable truths, that they've done the caring and the sharing and the branding and the knowledge and so forth, and then they just kind of go, well, let me know. Well, let me know, or think about it, or something like that, is just leaving that boat float in the inlet here. It doesn't actually get it to safety. And having a bunch of boats floating out there aimlessly, for many people, gives them the illusion that they have access to many sales, but they don't actually complete them. And sometimes, so in a sales piece, we would call that sandbagging, right? Where they just put all these sales that are available because they want them there when they need something, right? But they don't actually consistently harvest. So really looking at what are the sales that are out there. That's what your list is. That's looking out into that harbor. That's saying, here's all the sales. Here's all the boats in the harbor. Now let's get them each one in safely to dock, right? Safely. And they will automatically go back out to sea, because their lives will change. They will need new things. So if something that you're selling is a product that's related to age, right? Bring it in at that time. Get it locked down. Close your sales. It is a big deal. Many of you are also using this time to look at partnerships. And when you are looking at partnerships, again, it is the same process. It is saying, hey, here are my business ideals, right? I'm going to define the gifts that I bring to the table, that I'm going to kind of refine my list based on the outcomes that I want, but really looking to those sales partners. These are people that know you, that know your product, or understand the product itself. So for those of you who are dealing with other partnerships, I would make their own list and go, hey, here's how we can make money together. And remember, a partnership is that what do you bring to them, right? What makes you helpful to them, right? Because you are the luxury brand. That you bring something to the table that can be the hand at their back. I'm going to go into 10 reasons to call, but I am going to throw this particular piece out there to you guys. How many of you are using this time to focus in on partnerships? and you can either type in the piece or you can put it in the chat box. Right? So I'll let you guys keep chatting there. And now I'm going to go on to that partnership piece, to the next piece, and then I'll open it up for everybody. Okay, your top 10 reasons to call. Oh, I just see that Marge jumped in. Hi, Marge. I'll wait. Okay, top 10 reasons to call. When we talk about sales calls in general, you guys, this is where I would take your magic and go, all right, how am I going to have this conversation? Some of you are going to, so these are kind of the top 10 reasons, right? One, define the topic of why you're going to be working together, right? What do you want to do there, right? So when we start to look at that for Danny, right? What are the topic that you're going to be working on with people, right? You are working on gardening. How do you bring it into those classrooms? How do you bring it to this specific location, right? Donna, that may be part of your conversation. Here's what we want to work on with our clients or our partnerships. So this top 10 reasons to call is a twofer. It is not just the twofer for what are you going to do on the call with your clients or your customers, but also with your partnerships, right? What are you going to work on together? Really narrow the scope of work. So that scope of work may be efficiency, it might be market share, it might be customer satisfaction, it might be networking, right? Brand awareness, it can be a lot of things, but you're going to define the topic. The next is to identify the parts of the process, right? So if you've decided that you guys wanted to partner together or work together because you wanted brand identity, right? You're going to have to define that as to what that means, right? You're going to identify it, then you're going to have to organize it. Put it into some way that you can do that. And that's why lists were invented. They are a gift from the heavens above, right? It's again, I used these Jacob sheep for a reason, right? Because they do not like to be organized, right? They like to float around all around. They only organize themselves if they're all running, right? Like a school of fish, right? Then they'll all move in one direction because they have one unified topic, right? They're afraid. But when we look at what we're looking at is you're going to organize things into a pattern, into a way, into standard operating procedure, that you've got to be able to organize what you're going to do as an outcome. Another piece that can happen in a phone call, which is actually a pre-sale, is to sketch out your idea in a pre-sale. To go, hey, I kind of thought of this. Let me give you I have a sketch plate of a couple possible solutions. And then it goes to modify, right? Here's what I'm thinking. Here's the pros and cons of that, right? You can already see this is working as how you can move through the conversation. This in of itself is really a process, right? This is a script. The other thing that you can do is you can kind of diagnose that they are already having some questions on that. So when you're looking at the template for a possible solution, it may be, right, that you have an idea that may work better for them. Michelle, this would be a really good one for you. Marge, you've built your whole brand on this. And then, right, modifying, diagnosing, showcasing. So when you're also looking at language of the reasons to call is design, construct, and manage, right? When we go to design, Kathy, this is your life specifically. When we get to design, it is not a sketch, okay? When we go back to sketch, sketch is something that gets to change. It is available to be modified, It's available to help us find other solutions. By the time we get to design, we are ready to build. And that is one of the things that when we are looking at long-term sales,
There is a lot of
it is to really let you know that once we design the plan, we're ready to go. We're ready to move forward. And then it's construct, right? For those of you who have a lot of process in what you're doing, you're going to be looking at how do you construct that. Here's the template of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. If this is a garden, right, you do it on this date and this date and this date and this date. It's not, let's think about what can go in there, right? Then when we look at manage, one of the things about manage, oh, hi, March, welcome back. We were just talking about you. When you are looking at, right, the managing of what is there, it is really to kind of wrangle up all the details and make sure that the construct process is moving forward. For those of you who are doing things with a lot of paperwork, the management is where all the big money is in. That is the big money, is in where, how does it work after you've designed it. Number 10 is verify. You're going to want to showcase that what you do is really working. So sometimes that's a before and after picture. That may be seeing that child, you know, in absolute glee after the call. That may be looking at a light bill that's less. That may be looking at someone who has done something specific in one way and one that hasn't done it that way. That may be a cost analysis. That may be a before and after. It can be a lot of things. What I will frequently do is I will ask that other person, is it working? Is this working? Are you getting benefit? Are you loving this? Are you happier now that you have my painting in that room? Do you like your bathroom more because it has better lights in it? Are you actually in love with your website? Do you understand your product? Do you understand what you're doing, right? So really looking to verify. Verify in itself of why do you want to pick up the phone is also a sales, it is a sales call. And when is the best time to sell somebody something? It's when you just sold them something. So if you've made a sale, verify it. Is this working? Did you get it, right? If you've ever ordered something from China and you got an email that says, did you get this? And then can you please rate us, right? That's the verify section of that communication. For those of you, you have these extra 2 on the end. Again, when we talked about, you know, being fun or funny, that's not actually what people are looking for in a luxury relationship. They're looking for really ways that they can snuggle up to that brand. So, you know, if you've ever held a cat and it's like purring and cute and you love it, like, oh yay. For those of you who don't love cats, insert your own animal here. But, you know, when you look at that, right, it is really making sure that they've connected to what you have, right? That you can support it in extra ways. Here's how you can snuggle up with us. And then the other is to review. This is a more longer term piece. For those of you who want sales over and over again, you want to review every time you've sold them something. So one of the things that has been a huge trajectory for some very high-end brands is that they have put a detailed ID number in the product that they have bought. So Louis Vuitton is one of those, right? That it has a product ID. And they actually try to keep track of where that ID is. Do you still own this bag, right? So they'll come back to it. Do you still own this bag? And what we talked about with luxury brands as well is that they have also gone back to that model because they know who owns it and asked them if they wanted to trade it up. Right? Are you still using this bag? Right? This is the credit we would give you for that bag because Louis Vuitton can sell it now in their own secondhand market. We see this a lot with David Yurman. He's a famous designer that does jewelry. He does a lot of semi-precious stones, but he has a specific amount of product. He couldn't sell enough brand new product. So he went through, did the identifier of all their clients, and now he has what they call vintage pieces. So you can buy the ones that are manufactured right now, or you can have a resale market. What that did for him is it allowed people to take in his old product, bring it into the store, and have a down payment on new product. Why is that brilliant? That's brilliant because no matter what they've brought in from the past, it would never be more than the cost of it, so they would never lose in that deal. So if I give you $500 credit on a new product, when all of our new product, it's only on new products. You can't trade vintage for vintage, but you can take your vintage product and push it towards a new product. They'll give you what that price is, and then you can use it to buy the newer pieces. So now they have like a used car, right? So they have product that's vintage and they have product that's new. And they'll always have money churning on new product. They always have new product in the system, and now they have a way to get product back when it's old so they can sell that again. To be able to sell the same piece of jewelry multiple times has just never been there. It's just never been in a retail model by the person who did it. And you're seeing a lot of those come in many markets. So I'm going to finish up here. One, I would just remind you, we are all on the same team, that all of you that are in class together are in the same team. You and your clients are on the same team. You and your partnerships are on the same team. You just have to define what that team is named, right? And that working with you should be VIP. So if you want to keep a customer for a long period of time, you're gonna need to know how you get to be the VIP and what that would look like. So I'm gonna close up this piece, right, to kind of go, okay, here are your gems, right? Tell us what you've got. And now I'm just gonna open it up for everybody. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and then you guys can come back. And then you can pull yourselves off mute.
Yeah, everybody can unmute themselves, or I can unmute you all.
Right.
I'll do it, unmute all. And Nikki, you have a couple people to review yet.
To review.
Yeah, in the chat box.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, the chat box doesn't come up when I share my screen, so I'll keep reading these. You can just shoot out your questions.
Well, I apologize for coming on late. That was.
We're so glad you're here.
I'm having, that was the phone again, because I have a listing that we just dropped the price to get some showings, and I'm getting showings, and now they're having dirt delivered. So I have to go deal with that. But I'm very happy to be here. I'm very sad that I was late, but I do want to continue on, and I have to deal with this right now, and I don't mean to be disruptive, so I'll be back on in a minute.
So when we look at the sales call, one of the things is, can eco-friendly be a luxury brand, right? I am working on finding a new eco-floral foam that has more. Yes, eco can be, everything can, when you start to look at what is luxury, again, I would go back to that template, right? That it has a relationship. It has a benefit that is more than what is on the market now, right? So when you start to look at that, it's distinctive, it's special, it's unparalleled, it's superior, it's notable, it's singular, it's going to come in for this purpose. So I think that is where you can make that be something that is unique and desirable. How many of you are finding that sales calls are hard.
They were at first.
Okay, what made them better for you?
I now am talking to distilleries. And so after the initial, this is really nerve-wracking, are they even going to answer the phone? And then kind of selling the, I want your garbage, basically. I want your compost. Right. Can I buy it from you? And then explaining why I want it. They're really receptive to it. They're like, yeah, we don't have to pay for the compost pickup now, or we don't have to pay for as much, or wait, you're going to make floral foam out of our garbage? Sweet.
Right.
And I did find out that mushrooms aren't going to work.
Good to know.
They like their own water.
They do. Okay, let's go back to the sales calls that are working for you. What are the sales calls that you're needing to make? Donna, I'll throw this at you because you've got lots going on.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Well,
yeah.
Come on.
And sauerkraut.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just don't feel like talking today.
Okay.
But it's more emailing than calls for me. Just letting people know about the venture I have going on. I've had a little bit of a, like, I don't hear back from people, but I also am missing that follow-up piece because I kind of don't know what to say on that. You know, like I like that to think that it's maybe my contact is a pre-sales contact, and then to you know, that the follow-up is that maybe that's the sales. And I don't know why that's so hard for me, but it is. But it's also like the more, it's not so much rejection, but just a big crickets sort of thing. It's like I'm kind of getting used to it, you know, so it doesn't hurt so much, I guess.
Right. Right. And I think that's where just learning to be yourself is there. And in your case, Donna, it's sometimes reminding that you are a brand ambassador. And I think that brand ambassador role is much easier than to say, I have all my heart on the line here. I'm going to spell brand ambassador wrong, but right. And that way,
Nikki, you need to change your chat to everybody.
It should have just gone up. Did it?
Okay.
Are you guys getting a chat from me on the side?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one was just to me, so
Yes,
I
noticed
copied
that.
it. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, oh, geez. I love technology. It makes me so much smarter. Andrew, you have some goals about new clients, but you have a lot of servicing. You and I have talked during this time on how to really be in a role that other advisors are running from during this time because it's so crazy. What are the sales calls you're doing right now, Andrew?
I do a lot of check-in calls. So to me, that's through all this, that's been the most important. Obviously, when things kind of started off, it was super crazy because market dropped extremely quick in a short amount of time. And so I was very reactive. And really since that point, I wanted to be more proactive. And the response I get from people has been fantastic. I mean, I've pretty much gone through my whole book of business just to check in. Hey, you got questions? Here's what's happening. Here's what's going on. And people were very thankful of that. And so I've actually kind of carried that out to more than just my clients. So I've done it too with my like my partnerships, and then even with prospects, you know, people who are not clients who I'd like them to be clients, and just say, hey, just want to check in with you. You know, how's it going? You know, are you okay? You know, if they're a business owner, how's your business going? you know, very well versed in the different relief programs, and just want to check in, make sure you're right. And no one's shied away. Everyone's actually, majority of people picked up the phone or call me back if I left a message. Hey, thanks for checking in. Really appreciate it. I mean, I even made the joke that, yeah, just let me know if you need anything, even toilet paper. I got extra rolls at home, you know? You know, people have been very appreciative on it just because, you know, they call it social distancing. And in my opinion, they should really be spatial distancing because you need to be social. With people being more confined into one area now, I think just someone reaching out to them, just say, hey, how are you, has been a big item. I know that's helped me out last month. April, I moved the most amount of money I've ever done in 1 month, which was pretty cool. So, you know, hopefully that
Congratulations.
can continue. Yeah, thank you. And so now I'm actually thinking about, after being on a few of these Zooms with some other people in my industry, I've never done a cold call in my life in this industry, but now I'm thinking about actually doing that because it just sounds like other advisors, they're just been afraid to pick up the phone, just to check in, just to say what's going on. And you just got to remember, it's not personal on it. They don't know me, especially on a cold call. So just say, hey, just want to see what's going on. Here's what's happening. I mean, I know I'm up to date with the markets. I know I'm up to date with the relief programs. You know, just want to make sure, see if you need any help. And if they say no, just want to make sure. You know, if you got any questions, here's how you can reach me. Give me a call. So that's what I have on my agenda for today here. So we'll see how that goes.
Right. When I look at Ashley, I'm going to look at you, the partnership piece that's coming up right now. This would apply to both you and Dawn, that this is a chance to reach out to all of your people in lots of different ways. Have you thought about what those sales calls would look like?
So
or what your sale would be?
It's been to our original customers. So anybody that has had a planned event between March through May, right? All of those people have been a constant, let's check back in. Things are changing constantly. At the beginning, it was that we had so much new information that I felt like I was stalking our clients. Now the information is like coming a little slower, which is kind of nice because it's mentally relaxing for me not to have to keep calling our clients and being like, one more thing. So now when I'm calling them, and for some of them, it's been since March, they, put their party on hold. They're not sure what date. We're sending them, because we do our final balance on Square, we're able to send them automatic reminders for their final balance. So we've been using that as a check-in point, saying, hey, I'm going to push this out. It's going to be an automated email. And if, that will help us have that conversation of where do you want to go next? If, things have changed and we just don't know where we are, that's okay. And we can stay put, which there's some people that have stayed put in March. So for now, I can call them, and some of our people from April are already on board and starting to look at later May clients at this point, and letting them know, hey, if you can't host a birthday party in your home or around with the friends, right, and our services can't go out to you right now, what we can do is we can use your deposit, and that will go towards your virtual call and your virtual experience. Right. So now it's giving them an opportunity, which they didn't have before. So we're starting there, but we're also trying to reach out on social media and get more people paying attention to us that way. Because when I looked at our website, on our stats of our website, we are noticing that our top 5 don't include our neighbors in Minnesota. So it's not the Dakotas, it's not Wisconsin, strange enough, where we've actually been. It's people in California and Texas and Connecticut that are looking at our website right now. So for me, the thought is marketing that way, and the calls for our customers who need attention again. So.
Wow.
Wow. Caitlin and Matilda, you guys both have artistic products that are out there. Where are you going to go with your sales calls?
I don't know. I'm just in the beginning stages of redefining myself and trying to find my market. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss.
Okay, well, I am going to throw that out to the group as well. Tilly, where are you at?
So I've been working at selling to the people that are close to me. So like friends, family, friends, and to try to kind of get that energy from them to kind of get myself kind of jittering and excited. And then I'm going to try to kind of reach out even farther from there. During this conversation, I've actually come up with quite a few good ideas. After I starting to sell my product again, with my website, I can have a way for people to sign up, and then maybe like $1 or $1.99 a month they can pay, and I can send them stickers with my paintings and my sketches on them, buttons, and like little personalized notes per person. So like monthly I can send those kind of things out to kind of boost my sketches without having to sell a whole painting, because as a lot of people know, when you put your artistic love into something, sometimes it takes so much time and you don't want to sell it off and not have another product. So by having more buttons and stuff like that, I can, there goes my sister.
And here we have the newest piece. Is that part of your 100?
It's actually one of my first pieces that started my 100, and yeah.
That came out great.
So cute.
Yeah, let's put some kudos on
button
that.
and send that to you. Like, it would kind of give you that like boost of like happiness and wellness, as we kind of had it during that conversation. Like, people kind of need that to lighten up their life. So to give them like stickers that you can give to kids, and like Ella's age and her kids in her class can kind of enjoy.
Right. So Marge is asking, are you on Etsy?
I'm actually going to be posting a bunch of stuff on Etsy soon. I don't know much about it, so I've been going on YouTube, and I want to kind of soak up what people have already learned on there, so then I can kind of run full force.
So Michelle, you actually have some tips on stickers in general, I bet.
Yeah. So if you want to reach out, you can. But I did have a sticker shop on Etsy for about 6 months, and a few years ago now. And I did about 2,500 sales in that time frame. And my daughter has a shop on Etsy, and she's actually one of the top shops on Etsy. And to give you an idea of her knowledge and I guess resilience when all of this stay-at-home stuff hit, her primary market is weddings, so you can imagine where that went.
Yeah.
In 1 week, she had her sales drop, not to nothing, but pretty low. And in 1 week, she turned it around, and April was her biggest month ever.
Wow.
She just pivoted, and she paid attention to what people needed, and she started selling chore charts, calendars, that command station kind of stuff, because she does acrylic signs, wood signs. She has a UV printer, but she's one of the top shops. And
what's the name of her shop?
1801 & Co.
Michelle, why don't you just type it in the side?
Yeah.
But here's what I love about that from Michelle's perspective is, and the reason she stopped selling stickers is because it annoyed her.
I didn't like being stuck at home running stickers through my silhouette and my printer and the packaging. I loved the whole concept, and I loved sending joy to people. That part I loved.
And Tilly, I think that's where you can really identify with the brand. Same with Caitlin, and actually Ashley, you as well. In the product itself is, what are you actually delivering? Marge, I think that's also part of what you really appreciate about the shades. And Marge, I would put in the shade company in the side in the chat.
Right.
So
I mean, I've had my biggest month ever. And my chart is like the coronavirus untethered chart, like that. But because I've found a Pinterest manager, has made a gigantic difference. But I also, Etsy was like a lifesaver. I mean, throw me a lifeline. Etsy really has been, because of the amount of feedback you can get and how much customer knowledge you get, as opposed to fellow inventors that are on Amazon and have more worry about somebody stealing their idea. They don't have a lot of interaction with people. In Etsy, you will get a lot of interaction with your customers, lots of questions and stuff. And that's very helpful. That's all.
And Etsy has also really allowed you, Marge, you have and I would put that in the side about what, do you know how to do chat box? Marge had a new product. She invented it. She is the inventor of it. It's a shade that goes into all of these houses, and it redoes the bathroom lighting to make it not gross. So it's quick, it's easy. There it is, easy light wraps.
I don't even have
But
one.
it allowed her to get an enormous amount of feedback on how the product is holding up real time. And so Caitlin, Donna, Ashley, Danny, those are places where you can really.
I have an Etsy shop.
Oh, you have an Etsy shop. And how's it going for you?
Well, that's the thing that I'm having trouble with, because I also have a Redbubble page, and how to get people to those pages.
Right.
So I do okay on Etsy. I'd like to do more, and I just set up my Redbubble page, so I'm not really sure how to market that.
Right. I'm going to put Redbubble in here into the chat piece. But if you haven't, Tilly, if you haven't seen Redbubble, you may enjoy it. Michelle, did you do any work on Redbubble with your designs?
No.
Okay. The pieces going forward, right? The SEO, I noticed that you put up to everybody. SEO is a big deal, and you do have to pay for those positions no matter where you're at. Donna, you've probably done that on Amazon, but paying to be on that, or how you program it, it's a big deal. And Danny, I think that will come for you as well. I think some of your products will probably go up on Amazon or on Etsy as well.
I didn't pay for any advertising on Etsy other than the very minimum, like a buck a day for a while. But now Etsy, it's included, like you have no choice. But I would say, it's been a very slow, I've been on for 1.5 years now, but that learning curve of reading and what the results are, and because you have keywords and tags built right in it. And I'm sure Michelle can talk about that too, but I kept constantly changing up my keywords and tags as I saw what people were searching for. And it's different because my product's different. It's not, I know there's 1 million jewelers on there or 1 million artists. So it's, you really need to have those specific keywords, and that helps a lot without having to pay for it. I guess that's what I loved about Etsy, is there's so much feedback that you get. And, we could do a thing on that sometime.
The Pinterest was a really big deal for your brand. I could see that Pinterest also, Danny, being a very big deal for you as well. Actually, almost everybody on here except for Andrew is so much, but that Pinterest being a leader. Do you have anything that you want to share with the group on that?
Me or who?
Marge.
Pinterest is amazing. My views went from, here's the thing, my views went from 1,100 in November. And as of Monday, I was at 419,000.
Wow.
But that's because I have a product that's different. I would say that's what I've been trying to pitch for 4 years, that there's a lot of people looking for this. So it makes a difference. But Pinterest versus spending your time on Facebook or TikTok or any of those other ones, Pinterest stays around a long time. I think Etsy has really good search, and Pinterest has really, when people are looking for art, looking for ideas. I feel with artists, you kind of have to feel like there's people looking for your ideas. You know, I'm sure there's a concern with just being copied on one hand, but there's a lot of people out there that are looking for ideas for the home. They're all nesting right now.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Andrew, I think that's one of the other things that if you have not gone onto Pinterest, I think that you would find that also. The way that I think it would be helpful for you is there's a lot of financial information on there. So it is a way to build the brand rapport. So the things that I have put up on Pinterest that have gotten a lot of views are like the top 10, you know, and I try to use those. You've got some securities rules on there. And Sandy, this could have worked for you as well. But really saying like, here's the top 5 things that you need to know about XYZ, right? Work on those undeniable truths. And you can put that out as just a to-do thing, because people are also, a lot of teachers on Pinterest looking at when people are looking for information, a lot of small business searches, a lot of actual party fun, artsy, cool, you know, costuming and so forth, but also people who are looking at how do I build business strategy? What is small business? What am I doing? So there's some places in there that may be very helpful for you. I use Pinterest myself as a holding bank for putting up the leadership information. So like I have they're kind of it's called a folder or a board. So I have a board of just leadership stuff so that when I have a new client come in that I go, okay, well here, let me send you this Pinterest link and see if there's anything in there that's of interest to you. Or I'll have one just on marketing. And so it's also a tool for you to be able to say, here's some things that are very interesting. Sandy and Marge and I was looking for her, she's already gone up. But it's also a good tool for you to be able to send that link to someone, perhaps on home projects, things that they can do themselves, stuff they should know. It's a way for you to put large amounts of information that other people have, and now you can have that as a tool. And that can be a pre-sales call for you as well, to say, you know, what are the sales topics that you're going to be looking at? Here's the information that's there. Here's the things that you can think about. So, Andrew, here's a weird one that I have a lot of is conversations around people who are expatriated, right? How do you live, pay taxes, and run your financial life when you want to live when you want to be a global citizen, right? So I just can combine all of that information where I don't have to sit there and do that. I can just say, here's a block of information that may be helpful for you, that I've already vetted, that I think is helpful for understanding how to do that. So you may also, like for Caitlin, you have a body of work. This is a Pinterest page is a way to showcase that body of work, and then you can link it directly back to your Etsy page. And,
right.
and
I do have a Pinterest.
Yep. But a Pinterest is a sales tool. I need you to rethink your Pinterest as a sales tool, not just, hey, this is the cool stuff that's there. This is, it can click through and buy right from your Etsy page.
Andrew, have you done any meetup groups? I mean, I don't know if that's as posting to do a free financial dive in, or, the latest market info for a half-hour meetup, just because it gets your face out there, your name out there they push it to a wide range of people.
I have not. I've thought about it. I even consulted with Mickey about doing like an every Friday kind of a 30-minute check-in with some different areas of business. It's something that is on my radar, and I just came up with it a few weeks ago. I didn't put much thought into it, so I'm actually taking a little time and putting a little bit more thought into that.
Yeah, just because so many people are home, even if they're watching while working or kind of thing, it's like you still just, you get your name and you're expert on, and it might just stick with them.
Yeah, what I came up with is I work with a lot of business bankers, so I was gonna have like a banker talk for about, and
There
just
you
keep
go.
it like short though, keep it like 5 minutes each. I got a person who's a fractional CFO, so they do a lot more of the operational side. You know, what are you seeing from operation side of the business? Obviously, myself when it comes to markets, taxes, planning, that such. And then I was actually gonna have Mickey too, have her talk a little bit on kind of more marketing operations and just little quick snippets. Keep it, try to keep it 20 minutes or less, where like I said, people can just have it on or just come into like a Zoom or something to where it's like, okay, here's where it is, and just kind of have a quick check-in, and then away you go. Just as do some like self-marketing or branding, and that's kind of the idea that I have.
Yeah, because then it could live on YouTube or LinkedIn or somewhere also.
Right. Right. And that's also, Ashley, another place to put your YouTube content is on Pinterest, to be able to lead it right to your YouTube content. And how-to videos, right? How to whatever.
That's what blew mine up, was having she said do video because Pinterest is pushing video.
So
and I
good.
have one little 6-second video that is probably, the big driver of most of my pins.
Right. Okay, we are kind of coming to the end of our time together. Do you have any last minute questions that you want to pose to the group? Any success stories you want to tell us?
I don't have any questions, but I have a couple things I'd like to go over.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, hello. I'm hoping to get this off on May 20th. That'll be 12 weeks trapped. And so one of the things I wanted to suggest to you, in case you hadn't thought of it, Mickey went over it a little bit in mapping out by pictures what your strategy is. So I think a lot of you may, so I do a visual journal, and I don't apologize for the artwork because it's about the process, not the product. So if you're ever thinking about something, you should sit down and maybe just do a little doodle like that. You'd be surprised at what just actually even writing it down does. Because I was thinking about, this was a while ago, looking at what I could be able to do in the past, and just was thinking about it. And there are a lot of things that I could do in the past that I can't do now, but there's a lot of things that I can do. So just thinking about that. One of the other things people tend to forget about when they're so busy with their business is to take care of themselves. So I did a permissions bingo card. So you would make a bingo card like that, and then in each little box.
Hold it up real and just hold it still.
So in each of these little boxes, you would put something that you are now giving yourself permission to do, that, and now you have the time to do it too. So it's the playful permission bingo. I designed this for a class I am taking, which is a weekly class on using art, not fine art, but just, art for your own personal use. And that's been really helpful, I think, because art is something that, as the artists who are making the art know, it brings something out that you can't get any other way, even if it's not fine art. It's the act of actually even just handwriting, because that's like drawing. So if you can even think of doing journaling for just, 5 minutes a day or 3 minutes a day, that really helps. Just even if you do a brain dump of everything that's on your mind right at that moment, it helps a lot. So that's it. I'm doing okay. I'm having a good time. Just doing nothing. So,
doing nothing.
Well, not nothing, but I can't go out. I came out of the care facility, and the whole world had changed. So it wasn't any different. Still had to stay in. So there's nothing to do out there.
Lots to do.
Movies.
Okay. I am going to just do one quick review. So I'm going to share my screen again, so you can just have one last view of kind of what we talked about. So here we are sharing. Do you guys see that, my screen? Let me make it bigger, right? So dial for dollars, right? We're not cold calling, putting your business ideals first, right? Defining your gifts. What are you bringing to the party? You are the party, right? Fishing is not, you know, fishing is there. You're going to focus in on outcome, right? Technology is a tool to support you. It is not the lead. It's not the leader. Really prep in your mind what you think it should look like. That movie should be in your head. Most of you are a luxury something that this is something that I would give yourself in your mind, a way to think about why is it a luxury to be doing business with you. You don't have to be something that you're not. You don't have to send stupid stuff that doesn't make sense. Really understanding, right, that this is a fragile time. You are a partner in hope, and you are a partner. And that's the voice I would always come in with, that even if you're selling something that is average, that doesn't mean that it has to be standard. That we have some basic calls that we outlined, right? I found something for you, right? That here's something in the future I think you should work on, right? What are pre-sale calls that you may have something kind of secret that you've been holding on for them? We use this secret thing a lot for hairdressers, that really having them call ahead to go, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about your hair. I can't wait to get it done. And right now, hairdressers have so much power, it's crazy.
Yes.
That something needs updating, right? Everyone, going back to the hairdresser conversation, I was with a group of people yesterday on a call, and they were all having this conversation about their hair. And I said, well, now everyone is ready to have a whole new look. And everyone at the table is like, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to do that. So again, this may be a time where it's just the right time to update something, right? Remembering special dates that may be appropriate for the work that you're doing, whatever. The work that you're doing, or whatever it is that you're trying to partner with, there may be special times, right? Ashley knew when a certain movie came out that her life was going to change, right? Andrew even brought it up that there's another release coming, right? So special dates are a big deal. The crucial piece is that you've got to close your sales. You've got to close the sales. And that's really understanding where you started from, right? What's the intent of the call? The intent of the call is to get it into dock. Having a million ships just wobbling around in your harbor doesn't do you any good. You've got to get them shored up. You've got to get those sales closed and on the books. If you're partnering, again, a lot of the techniques that we've talked about in outreach to your clients can also be in partnering. For someone to want to partner with you, it has to be a win for them. So focus on what it is for them. We have the Jacob's sheep here. By the way, these are Jacob's sheep have the real weird horns, but they are a unique type of sheep that has not been bred into craziness. So they're the oldest sheep breed that we have here in the world. But anyway, I use them to identify this, define what's the topic you're going to talk about, identify the parts of what you want to talk about, and organize how you're going to do that. For those of you who have a longer sales process, you will go through all 10 of these parts. So you may be defining, hey, what is the home buying process? Okay, what is it going to be for you? Okay, let's organize how we're going to go through this, right? Luxury brands have operating procedures, that they have ways that they take people through a process. You may be going through this as all of the 10, you may be just landing on one section. We're just trying to get you more comfortable with outreach. And that's what you have to do. Sales aren't going to magically come in. You've got to find a way to get in front of someone with a conversation that they want to hear. That's why SEO is a big deal. That's why Pinterest is a big deal, because you're going to wiggle your way into someone's mailbox or onto their phone. The 10 reasons to call, again, you may be sketching out a quick template. Here's some possible solutions. you know, maybe I was having somebody who just inherited a house that I'm like, I don't know why you want that house, right? You may want to really, you know, here's some solutions. Here's some other ways you can do this, right? Modify, right? Modify and sketch when you're in these sections. Modify, sketch, diagnose are really times where you can move things around a lot in a sales conversation. But by the time we get to the next section where it's design, construct, and manage, that section of the sales pipeline is not movable. These are the ways that they're going forward, and this is how you're going to do it. Whereas when we're in sketch, modify, and diagnose, this can wobble all over and go everywhere. But it's got to come to these other parts of design, construct, and manage. Right? That's where the real work of the sale comes in. And this is where the money part of that on a long sales cycle will be. And the 10th reason is verify. Make sure that you know or they know why this worked. Right? Why did this work? Why was this direction the right answer? Right? So if we look at, you know, why do you show up for NW2, right? All I have to do is ask you, right? How many ways has it helped you? What, you know, how many times you just need to see everybody's face, right? Why, you know, it's $10. It's so good, right? It's everybody needs to see each other. Sometimes that's all of the proof that you need is how that person feels about the product you're delivering. The other pieces here are those kind of extra credit items, right? Extra support around your product or extra review of how did it perform over time. Reminding people that you are on the same team, that, right, that people are looking for a VIP role with you. They want to be the most very important person for you. So that's kind of the review of our screen. And again, I always thank you for coming. Does anyone have any final words they want to give to the group?
I do.
Yes.
I was going through old notes from Rich Chicks, and I just want to remind everybody from 2 years ago, we had a really good quote, and that was so April.
That was so April. Yes. That was so April.
We could use that again.
We can so use that again. So use it. Anyone else have anything else they want to share with the group?
This was very helpful. I came up with a lot of good ideas, so thank you so much.
Good, good. If you want to chat some of those ideas on the side, that would be great while we're here so that people can take them, because you guys will get the chat too. And I think the chat is super helpful. Okay, Andrew, final words. Oh, Karen.
Yeah, as far as I know, Lund's is not opening their community rooms in June. So
we'll be back together.
Yeah, they're not opening. So we'll be on Zoom again next month.
And next month is time hacking.
Yeah.
So I have, it's not on my desk right now. So I have a time, so I put out an offer, maybe the first of the year, where you could get a 30-day financial calendar. So there's a 30, 60, and 90 days. So if you didn't get one from that email that I sent out, if you didn't get that email, mostly went to my personal planning clients, but I'll share those with you that day too. So you guys will get them free that session.
And I hope everybody's enjoying the Zoom concept, because we might be doing it for a while. It works well for me because I'm home.
Right. Yeah. I'm loving the Zoom. Are you guys enjoying the Zoom?
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I know we're getting people that we sometimes don't get because they're far away. And see, Marge is nice too, you know, and Michelle. Yeah. We don't usually see them, so that's good. I like
Andrew,
that.
any words for us? You do a lot of sales calls. Bye, Marge.
Yeah. You know, the more I do, the more luckier I get, seems like. So just gotta do it. And it's really not as bad as you might think it is. Your mind will make it worse. So just start doing it, and you know, smiling and dialing, like you said, you know, people can, they can sense your happiness on it. And time like this, I think it's really helpful. Just like I said, a lot of check-in calls. Hey, how you doing? People really pick up on it now because they're probably only around their family and their kids. So, you know, I'm excited to do it this afternoon. That's all I got blocked a few hours this afternoon. Just all I'm going to do is just calls.
Right. Michelle, any words of advice for us?
No, I just so that this was all really great. Keep at it and don't give up. I mean, I think that's really key. Being able to pivot probably is a big thing, and do what feels right for you.
Right. Right. Trish, are you still on or are you just muted?
Trish?
No, I think she's.
Before we have her, I was just going to add in one thing that helped me out too is like, you know, if you ever kind of had a bad day or just a day where you're just like, ugh, not feeling it, talk to someone, talk to a family member, talk to a friend, kind of get you out of that mode before you do it. Because then all of a sudden you're like, okay, you know, I was kind of like a few days ago, I was kind of just out of it. And I talked to one of my best friends for about 15 minutes. And then after that, he's like, you know what? All right, I feel a lot better now. I kind of got whatever out of me, you know, you got like, okay, kind of my extrovertness kind of kicked in then. So if something like that happens, talk to a friendly voice, and that'll definitely help you out.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, I thank you very much. If you have any questions, you know where Karen and I are. All right, and I think everybody paid through Eventbrite. If you didn't and you want to send money in, just, you know, text us. We'll give you the address.
Nope.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you next month. Time hacking.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.